OBJ, and his absence was noticeable. After 5 touchdowns last week, Baker couldn't find the end zone on Sunday. Finished 12 of 25, 122 yards passing. Raiders take the win, 16-6. Browns couldn't even get into the end zone. Mike Vick back with us now. Mike, what'd you make of the Browns' offensive performance in their loss to the Raiders yesterday?
Well, it's super fair to say that they took a step back yesterday after last week's performance. I thought Baker Mayfield had arrived, and after losing Odell,
oh my goodness,
it found something within the offense that made him more comfortable. But it's no consistency there. You know, he made a lot of earned throws yesterday, and you know, regardless of the conditions of what happened, there was really no excuses. It was no excuses, and I think, you know, sometimes we look at Baker Mayfield and, you know, we expect so much out of this guy because we see the potential in him, and then only to fall short at so many moments and big moments when we need to see more out of him. That was certainly a game at home versus the Raiders, a game that would have put them over the hump and put them in a better position, winning another AFC game, and they couldn't pull it out. And, you know, it's just no excuses as of right now. Everything has to go right for Baker Mayfield and his team. Everything has to be perfect for us not to look at him at the end of this season and evaluate his situation for the better. For the better of the Cleveland Browns, for the better of Baker Mayfield. He has to win, and he has to win now. And he has to start winning some of these big games and not, you know, going 30 for 30 versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We expect that. We expect you to come out against a team like the Las Vegas Raiders and win and shock us, you know. So it didn't happen yesterday. I thought they took a step back. And for Baker Mayfield, you got to evaluate this film, get ready for next week, and, you know, give us something different to talk about.
Mike, I got to be really careful here, all right? Because if you want to see a fight, there's 2 things that you can throw at Nick Wright and I. Tom Brady and that whole discussion, Tampa, Tom, the GOAT, all of that, and also Baker Mayfield. So I got to be really careful with my words right here because I'm tired of fighting.
Trying to figure out why y'all was arguing about that this morning. Why y'all was arguing about Baker Mayfield this morning. Come on, really.
Well, because, you know, you got to ask Nick that question. But for me, when I look at this, right, this whole Baker situation, and let's start with this game before I go through the last 3 years. This game, I'm okay with an old school football game. There's conditions. I mean, I played in Cleveland probably 10 times. I get it. I understand it. But I probably averaged 100 yards a game, and Jay Cutler probably averaged 250 yards throwing. So really no excuse there. Look that up, Dusty. But I get it. I'm okay with the old school football game. I'm okay with just good defense. I'm okay with ground and pound. I'm okay with that. But when you draft a guy #1 overall and you say you're going to be the face of the franchise, I expect you to find a way. I don't need you to throw for 300 yards every game, but I need a win in the win column. Sometimes we judge quarterbacks too much on statistics. The only one that really matters is the W. Russell Wilson's going to find a way to take off and get the first down. He's just going to find a way. He's going to find a way to extend the play and find somebody open after they break coverage. And that's what I want to see that's what I want to see Baker Mayfield do, Nick. He hasn't shown to do that. So this whole discussion on Baker Mayfield and us or you defending him, to me, it's a waste of time because he has shown us that he is not the guy that can lead the Cleveland Browns out of this misery.
Yeah, so I'll explain to Mike in a moment why we were arguing, but in large part, I agree with you. Listen, if you're the #1 pick of the draft, even if your team's 5-3, in a game where you're favored to win, you can't come out and have a bunch of turnovers, make a bunch of mistakes, and continue to have the team question whether you're the guy. Oh, wait, that's Jared Goff I'm talking about, not Baker Mayfield. Goff's not in the show today, by the way.
Hello.
The reason we were arguing is because of the point Brandon made at the very end. When Brandon's like, you don't expect this from Russell Wilson. No kidding. Russell Wilson's one of the 2 best players in the whole sport. Of course you don't expect this from Russell Wilson. That's why he's right now the massive favorite to win league MVP And there are questions about whether or not Baker Mayfield's fifth-year option is going to be picked up. The reason I get a little worked up about this is because I'm fighting ghosts. I am being asked to argue a point that I have not argued. Last year, I thought the Browns could be awesome, and they wildly disappointed, and Baker disappointed. This year, at no point have I said the Browns are a Super Bowl team. At no point have I said Baker Mayfield is one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks in football. But when we are seeing the list of 3rd or 4th year quarterbacks that are struggling or teams have questions about them, like Darnold and Goff and Allen, Rosen doesn't even play. Like, go down the list. It is irritating to me that we act like Baker is the failing student in the class. Like Baker is the outlier, when he is more the rule than the exception. He went 1 overall. Well, Darnold went 3. Allen went 6. Goff went 1. A lot of the young quarterbacks aren't very good. A lot of them are struggling. And it is even more irritating to me that when he does play well, we say, well, that's what you were expected to do. But it really wasn't. Because folks, before he played well, were saying put in Case Keenum. So I don't even, listen, I like Baker as a guy. I got no problem with, I actually like Baker as a person, but that's got nothing to do with this. I got no love for the Browns. Now that Odell's gone, I don't really even care what happens with them. But I just think we got to be fair in how we evaluate him compared to how we evaluate other guys. He shouldn't be being compared to Russell Wilson.
But just quickly, I think with Baker, and I think you guys would agree, a lot of it is that.
Look at the end.
Listen, a lot of it is that. Listen, there's a lot of bravado that comes with Baker. There's a ton of commercials. There's a ton of watch me. There's a lot of dancing. Yeah. I think some of that, Nick, I'm not justifying. I'm saying I think some of that puts him in a position where he thinks he's perhaps a little bit better than he is, and so everyone around him sort of buys into it. Go ahead, Brandon, quickly, and then we're moving on to Odell.
No, you said it. No, you said it. 100%. But let's move on. But she said it, Nick. That's the reason why. Because he comes in as the #1 draft pick, and he has all these commercials. That's the standard.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, guys. A report over the weekend said that it's a very real possibility that Odell has played his last game in Cleveland. He's obviously out for the year. Mike, is parting ways with the best thing for both parties at this point if the Browns and Odell go in separate directions? Is that the best thing for the Browns?
Yes, it is. It's the best thing for the Browns. It's the best thing for Odell. Odell gave 110% effort. He never complained, never made any excuses. He did everything that he was asked to do as a Cleveland Brown, and I respect Odell for that. And for the Cleveland Browns, they got the draft next year. They'll be free agency. They can find some guys that can replace Odell. I think to mutually part ways as of right now, they do it on the respective terms, and it's the best thing for both sides.
I agree. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. And the way the Cleveland Browns need to win because of Baker Mayfield and what they have at the quarterback position, it's not a good fit. You have a dominant #1 wide receiver. You can't get him the ball. Even from a play calling standpoint, before he got hurt, you haven't found a way to get him involved early or even in a quick game, things that it doesn't matter what the defense do. So for that reason, I think you just need to move on. If I'm Odell, I'm definitely thinking about moving on. And I know it may sound selfish, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And you got to look at, this is his 3rd down year. He needs to get his career back on track. So he needs to be in a situation where he can go, be productive, and help a team win. Nick?
That's absolutely right. For Odell, I think it's a no-brainer that it would be the best thing would be to move on. For the Browns, I think a game like yesterday is a good example of why, even if Odell is at times a luxury you don't know how to use, where he's a luxury sometimes you need. Because a day like yesterday, where you can't throw the football or you're afraid to throw the football because of the wind, getting the ball in a guy's hands who can do things like Odell did against Dallas to save that game that they were trying to throw into the fire, they could have used him yesterday. So for Odell, I think it would be great. For the Browns, I think it's more mixed results, Jenna.
All right, let's take a turn. Yesterday, surprisingly, how about this? The first ever matchup between Big Ben and Lamar, and it was advantage Ben. How did the Steelers have their way with a tough Ravens team? Talk about that next. But first, check out President Obama showing off the smooth jump shot out on that campaign
This is
trail.
great.
That's what I do. That's what I do.